Formed in 1978, UB40 are one of the world's most recognisable band with huge hits including Red Red Wine, Can't Help Falling in Love, I Got You Babe, and the collaboration with Chrissie Hynde's Breakfast in Bed. They are now hitting the road again, touring their latest album, Bigger Bagger Rhythm, with 18 dates around the UK. The band have seen a few changes of personnel for various reasons over the years, and I'm delighted to be welcoming one of the founding members of the band, guitarist Robin Campbell. Robin, welcome to the show.
Hi Simon, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm itching to get out on the road again. It's been a long time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has been a long time. You released Bigger Bagger Rhythm last year, of course. How did you find that period where nobody was doing anything? Because obviously you've been in UB40 since 1978. So I mean, that's the year I was born. So I know that was 44 years ago. It must have been a hell of a change of lifestyle for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been doing for the last 40 odd years is recording and touring that record. You know, yeah. That's a cycle that we've been on for a long time, and to suddenly have that stopped, you know, and not be able to go on the road as for the longest period ever. For us, you know, we've never had 2.5 years without a gig before. So yeah, it was. It's been very strange. I think we enjoyed it for the first few weeks. You know, for the first 10 minutes, it was like a holiday. You know, yeah. But after that, we started to get itchy feet and could never see the end of it. You know, it just kept going on, and we kept believing that lockdown was going to finish, and then it just continued, and other countries closed down, opened up, closed down again, you know. So it's not just the UK, it's global. Every tour that we had booked for 2020 got stopped, you know.
Yeah, of course.
2019, the year before lockdown, I think we did 108 concerts that year around the world. So, you know, that was a normal year for us. Yeah. We consider ourselves a touring band, you know, and to suddenly not be able to do that and have all the things that were scheduled, rescheduled or postponed until further notice, you know, was horrendous. And now the floodgates have opened, everybody's back out on the road, and it's hard to get the venues. Yeah. So you're now putting gigs back together again according to availability, you know. So they're very mixed venues. We're going from arenas to theatres to all sorts of different size venues, and that's happening with every tour that we're rebooking. You know, it's complicated and it's difficult for routing. We're bouncing around like yo-yos in the UK. It's not like the normal tour circuit where you move to the next nearest town. That's not happening anymore, and it's really down to availability. So we're just doing whatever we can do as soon as possible. And once this tour starts, which is next week, we don't stop until after Christmas.
Wow, really?
You know, we've got European dates, United States, Australia, New Zealand, other Southern Hemisphere gigs, and then we come back to England in December, and we've got 4 or 5 arena shows, I think, in the UK to finish off the year. So, yeah, it's going to be a mad year for us, but one we're looking forward to. Obviously, it's what we want to do. It's what we need to do. Get back out on the road.
Yeah, I guess that being a touring band, having done it for so many years, yeah, as you say, it's your bread and butter. It's what you do. It's what you know. Thinking about the length of time you've been together, thinking about the stream of hits you had, especially sort of through the 80s and 90s. What do you think? What do you put the longevity of the band down to?
I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult to know. Otherwise, you'd bottle it and sell it. But yeah. You know, we've always we've never tried to be trendy. We've never tried to follow fashion. We've always just done what we love doing. We're lucky in that from the very beginning, we had a sound that was unique, instantly recognisable, and hit the right chord with a very large and faithful following, you know. And who knows what the secret is to that? It's just happens to be the sound that a group of musicians made together that hit the right note for a lot of people. And we've been very fortunate to have umpteen top 40 hits and sell 100 million records around the world. It's just but who knows the secret? Who knows why that happens or how you do it? All we do is stay true to ourselves, and keep doing what we love doing. And hopefully, as has happened for the last 4 decades, the audience comes along with us, and agrees with what we're doing.
Yeah. Do you think it's changed much for you personally over the years? Do you the way you approach the tour life? I suppose being older, being wiser. Is there anything different about in the way you view the whole sort of process of being on tour, I suppose?
I suppose being older and wiser, as you said, you learn to be on the road. You learn to do it properly, and you learn to not stretch yourself, not over party, and you just, I guess it's like anything, you hone your craft, and you learn to do it properly and professionally. And if you want to keep doing it, then you try and stay reasonably fit, and not burn the candle at both ends. And just try and keep yourself happy and your audience happy, and that's all you can do, really.
A key point. Obviously, Duncan Campbell retired from the band last year. You've now got a brand new lead singer going on tour with you for the bigger Bagariddim tour, who, of course, is the rather wonderful Matt Doyle. That's such a huge thing to do, isn't it? Replace sort of a member of the band, and any member of the band, I'm imagining. How do you even begin to put that to go through that process? What's the
first time it happened, obviously it was my younger brother Ali who left 14 years ago, and luckily I had another brother in the cupboard I could bring out and dust off, and that was a great advantage to have someone who I'd been singing with all my life, who I knew could sing and I knew could blend with me. So that was a pretty easy choice. And again, we didn't audition anybody. We just went to Duncan, And when Duncan retired last year because of ill health, Matt again was my very first choice. There was no discussion. There was no shortlist. I just went to Matt, having worked with Matt. He in the band Kyoko have supported us on probably 40 odd dates in the previous couple of years before lockdown. So we knew him very well. He's also the nephew of our percussionist Norman Hassan. So we kept it in the family again. But also, we'd worked with him on the lockdown, during the lockdown period, on the collaboration album, Bigger Bagariddim. He did a track there as the vocalist of Kyoko. And I was in the studio with him working on that track. And I remember then thinking what a talented lad he was. And that if we ever needed another singer, I had no idea at the time that Duncan was going to step down. But at the time I thought, if ever we need another singer, I know where I'm coming, And as it happened, Duncan then decided that he didn't want to tour anymore with us, or couldn't tour with us anymore. And I immediately went to Matt and offered him the job. And knowing that Matt has grown up with us, is a mad fan of the band, knows all the songs, has been singing them since he was a child, even though some of them were recorded before he was born. He tells us stories of how he sat in the back of his parents' car singing along to their records, and he always loved the music. So when he was asked, it was a no-brainer for him as well. He jumped at it, and he was a bit like a rabbit in the headlights at first, as was Duncan. But he's we know enough to know that he's going to be up to the job, and he sounds great. So we're looking forward to it.
I can't imagine being Matt, because I mean, obviously I was listening to your records. I remember listening in the early 90s, listening to mainly the bigger hits, but just to then sort of be suddenly approached about being the front man of a band that and you know several of the songs so well, it must have been quite amazing. Obviously you're touring Bigger Bag of Rhythm. Interesting album. Every song is a collaboration, as you mentioned there. Track number 6 on the album, You Don't Call Anymore, is with Matt. How did you go about making that, and what was the thinking behind it?
Well, when we were on tour in 2019, we were promoting the then album For the Many, which is what the Bag of Rhythm is taken from. The backing tracks from that album. We took our songs off, and used that as the basis for the Bag of Rhythm album. But we did a Bag of Rhythm album in the 80s, which was the same kind of thing, where we invited other artists to voice over our music. But they were mainly Birmingham artists, rapper DJs, apart from the track we did with Chrissy. But so we thought it'd be a really nice idea to do another album like that, but with a more international flavour. Being as we've been travelling the world for the last 40 years, we thought it'd be a nice idea to do that and invite bands that we've met in various countries, worked with, on tour. So that was what we did. We got in touch with artists that we've worked with and knew, and asked them if they were interested. And everybody we sent backing tracks to sent us something back. Everyone was in lockdown, so everybody had the time to do it. There was nobody who said, I'm on the road or I can't do it. It was just everybody went, because I think everyone was desperate to do something, So the fact that you can technically digitally send stuff around the world without having to carry tapes or anything anymore, made it that much easier to do. And they just sent us back songs over our backing tracks, and we remixed them. It was a very easy process, and I love doing it. I just love working with other artists anyway, and to have people send back, their idea of what should be on your music is great fun,
Yeah, their own, I suppose, artistic interpretation of those songs.
Absolutely. And we sent everybody we spoke to, we sent 2 or 3 backing tracks to them and said, pick one and put a song on, pick your favourite and put a song on. And some of them, House of Shem, for instance, the New Zealand reggae band that we'd worked with, we sent them 3 instrumentals and they sent us 3 songs back.
Oh, wow.
And they were all so good that they're all on the album. So House of Shem got 3 tracks on the album, just because we couldn't choose one, they were all so good.
I mean, that's a brilliant thing, I suppose. Does it change the way you're sending out the instrumental pieces, and does it change? I imagine you might have had in your head what might have come back. Was there any point that you were really surprised and shocked with a sort of, in either good or bad way?
Not really, because the artist you're sending them to. You know that you're going to get back something that sounds like them. It's always interesting to hear what they do, because it's always different to whatever you would have done. Yeah. But Kyoko, for instance, their song "You Don't Call Anymore" was almost the same song that we did ourselves, which was called "You Haven't Called Me Yet." And it's a similar theme, and they came back with a completely different song. I think they knew the original song, so they just changed the lyrics slightly, and the melody, of course. But it was interesting to have the same sort of theme on the same backing track, but just their take on it.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful, and it must have been such a fantastic project to have been involved in again. And as you say, 85, however many years later that was. 25 years later, isn't it?
And such an eclectic mix of artists, from Inner Circle, who everybody knows from Bad Boys, who are even older than we are, have been going even longer than we have. Winston Francis, who was again, a very successful recording artist in the 60s, and obviously up till now, to brand new artists, new up-and-coming rising stars from Jamaica, like Leno Banton and Black Hero, to kids who, were just are doing completely different stuff to us. And it was fantastic to hear their take on, their interpretation onto our music. It's just great fun. Yeah. I love doing projects like that.
It sounds fascinating and fantastic as well. And I'm guessing that it gives the album a real eclectic, loads of light and shade and a real journey that the listener's going on. You're obviously touring on the back of that, starting on Wednesday, the 4th of May, it's Star Wars Day, at the Brighton Centre in Brighton. And then, as you say, you are kind of all over the shop, to the point of you're up Blackpool, Manchester, which isn't too illogical, but then all the way down to Plymouth, and then Cardiff, Portsmouth. You are certainly here, there, and everywhere. How are you going to do the songs live? I'm guessing not all these artists are going to be joining you on the stage.
Of course not. No, we'll only be able to do a few tunes off. Obviously, Matt will be there, so I think we might be doing his tune.
Possibly.
Plus, we might be able to talk a guest or two into turning up at the odd shows. It's the same when we travel the world. When we go to New Zealand, we're hoping that we can get House of Shem to come and do some numbers with us. If we ever get to India, then for sure the Reggae Rajas, who are on the album, will be. I mean, that was how we met them in the first place. They supported us the last time we were in India. Yeah. So the next time we go, they'll definitely be guests again. That's all we can do, really. And obviously, it'll be limited to how many tracks we play off the new album. But again, we never play too many tracks off the new album because there are so many other songs that people want to hear too. Yeah, over such a long career and such a extensive catalogue, we have to play a lot of hits from over the years. So we only ever play a few new songs and maybe a few others that resurrected songs that people haven't heard for a while that might surprise them. So we try to do a mix as much as possible, but there will be some tracks from Bigger Bag of Rhythm as well as the hits that people expect.
Yeah, of course. If there are any tickets left, which I'm guessing that things are, especially people, I know myself, have been craving live music. So what's the best way for people to go about getting tickets if there are any left? You can find out where to get them from via UB40.global or UB40 official on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those platforms we're available on. I don't know what the availabilities are of tickets. I really don't know. I hope that people are coming again, because it's been really frustrating for people who've been buying tickets for our tour that was originally advertised in 2019, and it must be frustrating to have tickets for shows that get moved 3 times in the last few years. I'm not sure I'd be out buying tickets until I knew that the band were definitely going to be there. Yeah, quite.
So, there may well be tickets available at some gigs, but not available at others. So I really don't know what the situation is at the moment. All I'm doing is doing as many interviews to tell people that we are actually coming this time. Yeah, it's not a mirage. We are actually going to be there.
You're going to be there, and you're going to bring a fantastic show. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, Robin. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us a bit more about everything, particularly Bigger Bag of Rhythm. I think that sounds like such a wonderful idea to do in so many different genres of music as well. So really, really
cool. I want to do another one straight away.
Yeah, I will imagine. Well, thank you very much, and we will catch up again at some point, I'm sure.
My pleasure, Simon. Thank you.
Cheers.